What is going on, guys? MMA Island team, we got the fight picks, and we are back. It has been a minute. We're going to get these flowing out a lot more consistently and regularly, and we're not going to miss any more of these. So a quick welcome back from you guys and from us as well. But hey, let's get right into it, man. UFC 254, we got a banger card going on. Took a couple hits, but we won't talk about the fights that missed. We're going to talk about the fights that are currently on, and hopefully they don't get rescheduled or fallen out, COVID, staph infection, whatever. Let's just get the fights and let's talk about the fights. And the first fight, we got Joel Alvarez taking on Alexander Yakovlev. And I will pass it on to Zach to start us off.
Well, if this fight isn't good enough to wake you up at 7:30 in the morning, like for all of us West Coast people, you should be rethinking your MMA fandom. This fight is awesome and is one of the very few 6'3" lightweight bulls. Like there's a bunch of lightweights that are 6'3", but they rarely fight each other. Now here we are. We have two of them matched up. As Jesse Ronson said, these are the Ice Cube and Water Boys, and I think we should rename 6'3" lightweights that. Ice Cube and Lettuce. Sorry, I messed it up. Anyway, Joel Alvarez, coming off his last fight against Irish Joe Duffy, sent him into retirement. I mean, he dominated that fight. And what Joel Alvarez is really good at, he's really good at two things. He likes to keep his opponents at range with solid jabs and very solid leg kicks. And if it goes to the ground, he is deadly off of his back. He is a very, very solid submission artist. He will not take it to the ground himself. That's one thing that we noticed about Joel Alvarez. He will not try and go to the ground himself. He won't initiate the takedowns, but if one is put on him, then he will take them. He'll make the most out of it. Now, Alexander Yakovlev, we have not seen him in a while ever since he put on a close fight with Roosevelt Roberts. They used to mean a lot more than it does right now as Roberts' stock is kind of through the floor, but we won't talk about that. Anyway, Yakovlev, he's going to try and take you down, and but he's not the best on the feet. He gets hit a lot more than he lands, and I never like supporting a fighter with a negative strike differential, and Alexander Yakovlev is one of those fighters. He gets outlanded. Actually, he's only outstruck his opponents 3 times in his UFC career. That is not something you want to see, and especially with someone who's as good as keeping someone at range as Alvarez is, because he's actually pretty good at landing a lot of volume from range. You don't see that a lot with these rangy strikers. Usually the people with more volume are the people who tend to go up in close, but Alvarez he has that volume. And so that's why I'm going to pick him. I think Alvarez's range is a bit too much to deal with. He does have the reach advantage by, I think, 3 inches against Yakovlev. And I think if it goes to the ground, then the submission threat is better than Yakovlev's top pressure. So overall, I always say the fighter with more paths to victory is the one that I like to favor. And in this case, I think it's Joel Alvarez. And I'm going to go by second round submission.
Yeah, you make some good points. Definitely have to agree with you on this one. Just talking about Joel Alvarez, I mean, people going into the Joseph Duffy fight, I thought it was pretty obvious that Joel Alvarez had the advantage here. And apparently, like, according to the stats, that Joel Alvarez was the underdog, and I actually do remember him being the underdog. And
pretty big underdog.
Pretty crazy. Because, you look at Joe Duffy coming off of he was on a 2-fight losing streak at the time, going up against Joel Alvarez at the time, 16-2, only been knocked out once against a spinning heel kick. So being 6'3", getting knocked out by a spinning heel kick, that's probably pretty fluky, I would imagine. So, hey, but credit to the guy who knocked him out. And talking about this fight, man, the thing is about Yakovlev that I'm talking about here is, and you made a lot of good points talking about the strike differential. He's only ever been knocked out once. Mentioning when that was, just looking way back to when it was, looks like it's early in the career. Second ever career fight for Alexander Yakovlev is when he was knocked out. So yeah, his chin is held up, definitely. And I don't see Joel Alvarez being able to knock him out. I see him being able to kind of just piece his way. And as we mentioned, we talked about the guillotine. Yakovlev has been submitted a decent amount of times, at least recently. You look at the Alex de Silva fight, he submitted him via guillotine. So it's really, this is a submission style type of battle. Zach Cummings obviously submitting Yakovlev with a straight arm bar as well. Actually watched that fight recently. But man, honestly, I just think that the submission style of Alvarez is going to be too much to handle. He's got the guillotines, he's got anacondas, triangle chokes, arm bars, and being a guy in Yakovlev who has been submitted 4 times out of his 10 losses, near 50% rate of his losses come by submission. So I just think that's pretty likely. And if it's not likely, I see Alvarez being able to hold the dominant positions for the most part of the fight. And being able to just kind of piece his way to a decision, maybe have a couple submission attempts that get pretty close. Because I'm not underestimating Yakovlev by any means. And you mentioned, obviously, the unanimous decision loss to Roosevelt Roberts. As you mentioned, Roosevelt Roberts being submitted via guillotine by my dude, Kevin Kroom. As you mentioned with the stock with Roosevelt Roberts. But, man, I'm getting way too off track. The point is about this fight is, as I mentioned, I just see Joel Alvarez being able to go in there, hold the dominant positions. If it goes in the stand-up, I don't think that you can really – I think you got to give power advantage to Yakovlev, but I don't think that he's able to knock him out. As I mentioned, just the submission advantage, got to give it to Alvarez. Power advantage, got to give it to Yakovlev. And just overall well-roundedness in being able to take the fight where they want it, I'm going to have to give it to Alvarez. So I'm leaning at Alvarez as well. And I want to know what you guys are thinking. So make sure you guys are letting us know how you're feeling about the fight picks being back. We ain't going away. I'm making sure. So we're going to have these coming out pretty regularly and trying to get these out earlier and earlier, having better content coming out, man. So just make sure you guys are liking the videos, subscribing to the channel. Make sure you check out the other fight pick videos.